Carlos Icy with ESPN Los Angeles. Always glad to present to you the Road to Recovery presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute, and happy to be joined, as always, by Dr. Alan Beyer. Dr. Beyer, huge week with the Super Bowl.
I
Doc,
thought we're not allowed to say Super Bowl. Don't we have to say the big game?
the big game.
Well,
Well,
ESPN's allowed to say it. ESPN's allowed to
yeah,
say it.
we're talking about this in a journalistic
Yes, I
perspective.
understand.
We're talking about Seattle versus New England in San Francisco. Not that many storylines, let's be honest, happening. We talked about previously Sam Darnold's oblique, and now after the AFC Championship game, Drake May's shoulder is of concern. What do you think about what we're going to watch for between those two quarterback injuries?
Well, I think Sam Darnold's oblique has become a non-issue. He's had 2 weeks rest now by the time the game starts on Sunday. And it certainly didn't seem to impede his performance too much in the NFC Championship game. So I think that one's become a non-issue. The interesting thing on May is he's actually not had his level of performance in the playoff games as he did in the regular season. And the shoulder comes into question. He took a hard spill on the shoulder. Um, and I think that is a question mark. You know, he is a youngster. He doesn't have the amount of time under his belt that Sam Darnold has. Um, I think that the shoulder might be a little bit of an issue. The fact that the Seattle defense is going to be certainly honing in on that is going to be an issue. And I think that I certainly give the edge to a rather large edge, I think, to Seattle in this game at the quarterback position. Sam was drafted by the Jets. They were a terrible team at that time, just like they are now. Um, and he got just totally beat up that first time. Then he went to Carolina for a while. Then he went to San Francisco, where he's a backup. And then last year at Minnesota, he was 13-4. He took them to the playoffs, but lost in the playoffs. And they felt they were going to go with J.J. McCarthy. They might be rethinking that decision as we sit here today. And he has a duplicate 14-3 record with Seattle, with a team that he really fits in with very, very well. Um, I give the big edge to the quarterback position to Seattle in this game.
You talk about Drake May and playoff performances so far. And look at that AFC Championship game and how he had to battle not just the Broncos defense that has been pretty successful all season long, but how about Mother Nature in playing in the snow with that with a bum shoulder. So for Drake May to be able to do what he did and still lead his team to victory, admirable. But we'll see if snow or not, his shoulder can perform here in the big game.
Well, and he also won that game when the opponent didn't have the quarterback who got them there playing. So I think that with Bo Nix, Denver probably would have won that game.
And some smarter coaching by Sean Payton to kick the
Yeah,
field goal.
maybe taking 3 points when they're, although in that weather, that was not a gimme 3 points.
Right.
Let's
But
face it,
before the snow arrived.
at least go for it. Right, right.
Right. But now, even looking at the setting of the Super Bowl, a bigger and louder story that you can argue was the Niners in the long laundry list of injuries that they had all season long, and the strange theory that started popping up later in the season of pointing your finger at this electric substation near the practice facility. Doc, is there any truth behind this theory that this electric substation is responsible for all these Niners injuries this season?
So there's absolutely zero science to back the theory that some type of electromagnetic force that's generated at that substation has caused the injuries that the 49ers have been experiencing the last several years, not just this year. They've had their share of injuries the last several years. But I am not an expert on how many other NFL practice facilities are near electrical substations. I'd be willing to wager a guess that there's more than one other. Number one. Number two, that's not a new electric substation. It's been there for a long time. And even though they haven't played at that stadium for many years, they used to play at Candlestick, their practice facility was still there. even when they played at Candlestick Park. Or was it Kezar Stadium? No, it was Candlestick Park, wasn't it?
Candlestick.
Um, so Jerry Rice didn't seem to have too many problems from the electricity. Joe Montana didn't seem to have too many problems from the electricity. So I think that it's just bad luck. There are certain teams, the Chargers are like that. The Chargers are, their practice facility, I know, is not near an electric substation, okay? But they seem to have just as many injuries the last couple of years and seem to be snake bitten by injuries the last couple of years. So I give absolutely no credence, zero, nada, hard stop. No credence to the electric substation theory of injuries for the 49ers.
I think it's a lot of Niners fans that are living up to their internet name of being whiners instead of the Niners. But Niners GM John Lynch said maybe it's worth taking a look into. And like you, the NFL's chief medical officer, he's really downplayed the possibility of that happening. In case you're curious, to our audience, none of these two teams in the Super Bowl, New England or Seattle, are practicing at the Niners facility, and it's not because of the electric substation. According to Mike Florio, this was determined long ago, and it was not affected by this decision. But the fact that this is out there, and I think, again, Niners fans are just leaning on that to become their reasoning for this injury-riddled season.
You're kind. I think it's an excuse, not reasoning, because let's be realistic and scientific about this. There's nothing about pulsed electromagnetic fields that is specific to pro football players and injuries. If it were true, that means that anybody working in any occupation near an electric substation is going to have a higher incidence of injuries just from being near that electric substation. That's not the case. That's not what we see. So I'm sorry. I'm still a scientist. Doctors are scientists. I can't give it any kind of credence because of the fact that it's not a unique situation. There are electric substations all over the United States of America.
Just to put a little bow on it, one of the tight ends playing in the Super Bowl, Eric Saubert, who was actually a Niner in the past, he was asked about it. I think this was probably during media day. He said it was a constant source of humor in the Seattle locker room to talk about the Niners, and nobody believes in the locker room that it is a threat. But he did say it's a joke, but it is coincidentally odd. So players don't believe it as well.
Well, I think that they're scientists too, then.
That's a great way to point it, Doc. But hey, we would be remiss to end this episode without your Super Bowl predictions. Doc, what do you think is going to happen on Sunday?
I'm leaning towards Seattle significantly. I think that they've been about a 4.5 or 5 point favorite, and that hasn't moved, which amazes me because I've read somewhere that 75% of the money being bet through the sports books has been on Seattle. So I don't know how the bookies are gonna equalize that if they don't move the line somewhat. I'm also leaning towards a higher scoring game. I don't think this is going to be a 17-10 game. I think that this will be like a 31-24 kind of game.
Hmm.
I'm leaning towards the score being a little bit on the higher side. Both teams have explosive potential on offense, and I think we'll see a couple of those explosions.
That would make for at least an entertaining Super Bowl matchup. And one last thing, Doc, before we go, what's the color of Gatorade?
Oh well, I think I just got to go with orange this
All
time.
right.
I'm going with orange.
There's a prop bet there for you guys.
Yep, there is, and it's a prop bet that I never make.
Thanks, Doc, for joining us on the road to recovery. Looking ahead at Doctor in the Dugout, what's coming on?
This week we have Bill Handel, radio superstar on KFI Talk Radio. Very interesting character. We'll be talking non-sports because Bill's not really a big sports fan, but whatever he talks about, he's very interesting to talk to. So tune in 12 noon, AM 8:30 this Saturday.
A long, long time name in the LA radio industry. Wow, great to hear. Thanks again, Doc, for joining us on the road to recovery presented by the Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Have a great football Sunday.
Big game Sunday. That's what I call it.